actually live on our network here on FloTrack that we wanted to talk about. First, let's start with this marathon, the NN Mission Marathon featuring Eliud Kipchoge, which takes place on Sunday morning, very, very early Central Time out here in the United States, or late, depending on how you look at it. It's going to be Kipchoge's first marathon since he finished 8th in London and had his win streak snapped. And we presume this is going to be his last big race before he goes for another gold medal at the Olympic Games. This race was initially scheduled to take place in Hamburg on a loop course with a small pro-only field. It got changed because of COVID, so he's now racing this at an airport in the Netherlands. Again, a loop course, like we talked about before. Only Kipchoge could get his race moved to an airport. That's what happens when you run 1:59:40. That's what happens when you rule over the marathon like he has over the last couple of years. What are you excited to see in this effort for Kipchoge? What do you expect to see after he lost for the first time in several years?
Well, I expect to see him win. I expect that. I don't think he can go. I don't think he can start a losing streak. I don't think he's had a losing streak in a long time. So I can expect him to win. The question is, how quick will he go? How smooth will he look? Will he it's so weird to kind of look at Kipchoge coming off a loss. We haven't had that experience in some years' time. And I don't know, like in a weird way, I think like he's going to go out there and run like 2:01, right? But there's also a part of me realizes like, hey, he doesn't run 2:01s every time. Like he is human. He does have like, he's not always breaking two like he's been doing the past few years. So I think we're just going to see a solid run, a solid dominating run where he's going to make like a 2:04 or 2:05 look very easy. That's what I think.
And I think that would be enough for him to go into the Olympics as the favorite. If he loses, especially in this field where the next fastest person has a PB of 2:05, then you'd be worried because then that's 2 in a row. That's starting to develop a trend. But you're right. I don't think he needs to run a 2:01 to become a favorite because right now there's no clear second person. You have to be obviously concerned about Kipchoge because he got 8th in London. But who's the person who's chomping at the bit to get that title? Is it Lawrence Chirono? Is it Shira Katada? There's some guys out there, but there's no clear second person who is breathing down his neck right now. So I think he can push some of them back with a strong effort here. I expect him obviously to win. I'm looking back the last time. So he won his first marathon ever in Hamburg. Then he lost his second marathon in Berlin. And then he came back the following year and he responded with a 2:05 flat in Rotterdam. And then again, didn't lose since. So the last time he lost a marathon, Gordon, he went on about a 7-year win streak. I don't think that's what we're going to see this time. But for Kipchoge, what he's really concerned about this race and then the Olympics, and then he's probably figuring it out from there. I don't know how long he's going to continue at this. I don't know how long he's going to continue at this level, but the race does get more interesting because of what happened in London last year. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. When you said you don't know what he's going to do after the Olympics, he's gonna hit the local 5K circuit and collect some $1,000 cash prizes, run the turkey trots.
Turkey trots.
Yeah. Imagine if he would do that, like, undercover elite runner, where Kipchoge just literally spends like 3 months traveling the U.S., going to all these local charity runs, and just like, thank you, I'll have that $500 here. Thanks for the $1,500 here. That'd be hilarious. He should do that.
Like Kyrie Irving in those commercials.
Yeah, Uncle
right?
Drew.
He goes on undercover Kipchoge. Who is this guy who showed up to this Shamrock Shuffle and ran an 8K in 22 minutes? I don't know who that is.
And then he came
But
back and
look,
ran the mile as well.
I thought it was weird when he signed up for the Kids K. So the second seed in this race, Felix Chimangas, 2:05.12. It's funny just to look at the PBs here. Kipchoge, 2:01.39, and then all the way down to 2:05.12. I would guess one of these guys behind him is going to have a good day, a breakout day. But if Kipchoge is anywhere near his best, they should not be able to beat him. On the women's side of things, obviously there's not a headliner like Kipchoge. Madai Perez is the top seed, 2:22.59. Sarah Moreira, 2:24.49. They're billing this race, Gordon, just in general as a chance to get qualifying times for the Olympics. So if you're interested, obviously, in Kipchoge, you're going to be very happy. But if you're also tracking who is going to be on the start line come Olympics, which countries are going to have to make some tough decisions about who to send. This race, he doesn't run slow ones, Kipchoge. He's not signing up to run uphill 10 miles straight. So this is going to be a quick course. And I'm guessing we're going to get a lot of people running Olympic qualifying times on Sunday morning.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how many countries have already selected their marathon team. I know the U.S. we selected ours 2 pandemics ago. It feels like
Mm-hmm.
it feels like a long time ago, but yeah, I'm not sure how many of these athletes are like bubble athletes according to the federation to kind of look at this as a last chance marathon to kind of
Mm-hmm.
clinch a spot in the Olympics. It will be interesting though. I'm sure this will be compelling storylines in that 3rd through 10th spot where they're just trying to either get this Olympic standard to represent their country, etc. So be
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
And as we
Also, it's going
mentioned,
to be
you
on
can
an
watch.
it's going to be on an
Go ahead.
airport terminal. It's going to be
Right.
airport hangar. It's basically how much does it cost to like delay all the flights?
The airport is not in use currently, per my research, and it's just one
Okay.
runway. It's one runway, but they're getting a lot of mileage out of that one runway because they're not doing 40 loops, which makes me think if you went to a major airport that had several runways, you probably wouldn't even need to. Could you get a marathon out of 4 or 5 loops? I don't know how big the average airport terminal is, but he's getting. I looked
The
at the course map; they're going around not that many times, so there's a lot of distance here they're getting.
Some airport terminals are deceptively very large. Like the Dallas airport terminal is bigger
Oh
than
yes,
Manhattan. It's bigger than Manhattan. Isn't that crazy?
is that a true fact, or did you
That
just
is a
say
true
that right
fact.
now?
Dallas airport is bigger than Manhattan. Look it
Okay,
up.
so maybe
People on the YouTube comments can
yeah,
fact check me. They can Google that while we're here. But yeah, I don't know.
DFW is bigger than
Yes,
Manhattan. Oh my
yeah. The,
gosh.
the square footage is bigger than the square footage of Manhattan. And also, it just also reminded me. I'm not sure if you ever heard me say this, but you know how people in the sport kind of try to come up with interesting locations for a track meet. Like I remember Drake did a
Yeah,
high jump in a grocery store. They do pole vault
yeah.
on the street, shot put in front of the
Mhm.
Capitol. I'm thinking we need a 100-meter dash inside a terminal. And specifically, I think it should be the Chicago terminal, where there's like this underground spot where it goes from one terminal to the other. Set up a 100-meter straightaway, and it'll be perfect. Everyone is used to sprinting from one terminal to the other to miss their flight, and this time we get Noah Lyles, we get Trayvon Bromell, and all the greats to not miss their flight, and it's gonna be like don't miss your flight dash, and to see who can run from one terminal to the other in the quickest time, and then you could put a regular person on the moving walkway and race
Mm.
Trayvon. So like you put me on the moving walkway, Trayvon on non-moving walkway, and then we race and see if I can beat him, which I won't, but they'll be fun. All these ideas
Not
are
only have
going
you
on in my head.
not only have you told me this before, you've literally told me the story in the airport that you're describing one time when we had a layover in Chicago, I believe is where
Yeah,
you first unveiled this theory to me. You may have told other people. At the very least, it's a commercial.
yeah.
One of those airlines heading into the Olympics,
Isn't
right?
United like the official partner of the Olympics or something like that?
Yeah.
I
Okay,
don't
here
know.
we
I may
go.
have made that up.
We have a fact check coming in on the chat here from Joseph. At 17,207 acres, DFW is larger than the island of Manhattan and is the second largest airport by land area in the United States after Denver. So Denver's even bigger. Denver's airport. My goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah,
deceptive.
a lot of marathon opportunities is what I'm seeing. Maybe Kipchoge takes his show on the road. He only
There you
does
go.
airport marathons from here on out. So that race, the NN Mission Marathon, you can watch it live on FloTrack in the US, Canada, UK, Ireland, and Australia.